about 80% of the people who come into our ecosystem are non-crypto people. They're like drivers and runners and people who create a lot of location data, but then also people who want to earn money on the side, or crypto curious people, or people like gamification, and many reasons why people join us. And so inside the app now you can do the same proof of location data collection, but you can also now collect a lot of other data, like other IoT data, be it like a temperature sensor or something, or you get on-demand data like say the opening hours of the store, or what's in the shelf on that store, or how do the clouds look today, and stuff like that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Fully Diluted podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Bane, a research analyst on the enterprise team specializing in DPIN. Today, we're joined by Markus Levin, co-founder of XYO, one of, if not the oldest DPIN around. XYO is at the center of data sovereignty and data verification, and we're super excited to have Markus on. So to start, I'll just ask Markus, what is XYO? What's the story behind the protocol? And love to hear a little more about your background as well.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for inviting me, Dylan. I'm very excited to be on your podcast. Yeah, so XYO, it happened that in 2018, we realized the location gets easily spoofed to hack. But you can download the GPS spoofing app and pretend that you are in Boston right now, but you're actually in New York. And that's a problem for most apps on your phone, like Uber and Yelp, but also for the real stuff like automated supply chains and self-driving cars, smart cities, and the economies of the future. And as more value gets attached to location, the more nefarious actors are incentivized to come in and cheat. And so we came up with a technology with IoT devices, where those IoT devices do bound witnesses or cryptographic handshakes. And as you have more devices interacting with each other, you get more and more certainty around the location of a device. And then, over time, you build a relational map and reputation and so on. We have the sentinels, which are the devices which collect the data, the bridges which relay the data, diviners, which crunch the data, and archivists, which store the data. And so we built this proof of location network in 2018, which makes us probably the original DPIN. We started our mainnet half a year before Helium, for example. Mm-hmm. And then, in 2018, things were difficult to scale. Like everybody who was in crypto was thought to be in a drug cartel or something. Banks didn't want to work with you and stuff like that. So we tried to be super transparent. We built our XYO Foundation in the US, and we have a for-profit entity, XY Labs, as well, which is also in the US. We do audited financials. I get to that in a minute. And we then, but to XYO, then we tried to scale the proof of location network. We were working on proof of concepts with like SK Telecom, the South Korean telco, and T-Mobile, and other IoT providers. And it was just difficult to scale. So at some point, we decided to launch a mobile app. And the mobile app is called Coin. You can download it on coinapp.co. And with the mobile app, you are very easily able to be part of the XYO network. You don't need to understand IT, you don't need to buy a device, and so on. And because of that, something remarkable happened over time. Back then, about 80% of the users in our network were crypto nerds like you and me. But then now it's shifted actually the other way around. About 80% of the people who come into our ecosystem are non-crypto people. They're like drivers and runners and people who create a lot of location data, but then also people who want to earn money on the side, or crypto curious people, or people like gamification, and many reasons why people join us. And so inside the app now you can do the same proof of location data collection, but you can also now collect a lot of other data, like other IoT data, be it like temperature sensor or something, or you get on-demand data, like say the opening hours of a store, or what's in the shelf on that store, or how do the clouds look today, and stuff like that. And then we validate and verify the data through the proof of location technology and something we call proof of origin, which basically allows us to say where a data point was generated, let's say in a sensor, right? And then it was handed over, let's say, into an IPFS database, and then to a smart contract along the way we tangle the data at every step when it's handed over, and that way we can say where it originated and where it ended up. And so today we are like a fully fledged Oracle connecting real-world data with blockchain, and we validate and verify data and also provide that data to Web2 companies. And we partner with a bunch of DPINs, provide proof of location for them and also proof of origin for their devices, because they want to make sure, of course, that their devices are where the users say they are, right? Because in the incentive-driven crypto and DPIN world, there are cheaters there, or people who try to cheat the system, right? And we try to make it not too easy for them with our ecosystem. Yeah, today we have more than 8 million nodes in the network, which makes us one of the largest DPINs as well. They are around the globe, from Africa to the US, India to Brazil, really, and anywhere we have users in our ecosystem. And some of them earned quite a lot of money. As the interesting thing about crypto and DePIN is that if you have token appreciation, then the people who earn, they are able to appreciate, they are able to participate in the upside of the token as well. And so we have these stories of people who paid off their mortgage, so people went on a 20-year delayed honeymoon, someone made $1.6 million through debiting to us. It's just these crazy stories because of the token appreciation. We listed some case studies which are on our website. And then again, back to the entities. So because we launched in the US, we wanted to do everything super compliant. So we weren't able to sell our XYO token to unaccredited investors in the US. We only were able to sell it to accredited investors and then overseas to overseas investors. But we were the first crypto company in the US who was qualified by the SEC to do a Regulation A offering, allowing us to sell our shares to non-accredited investors. And so when you got to our website during the token sale and share sale in 2018, you had the choice to buy shares or token depending on what kind of investor you are. And that way we got today we have more than 24,000 investors, because subsequently we thought it's not fair that our XYO token holders, they have all this liquidity, right? The token trades on Coinbase and many other exchanges, but the shareholders don't have that liquidity. So we were one of the first companies in the US to tokenize its shares and list them on alternative trading systems, the T0 ATS, under the ticker XYLB, where they're still trading. And with that come audited financials and all the other fun stuff and semi-annual filings with the SEC, which is a little burdensome and costly, but also provides a lot of transparency. I think a lot of other crypto projects are not able to provide if their data is on-chain.
Awesome. Great intro. We'll be sure to dive deep into each of those points. I think for listeners to get kind of a better sense of what specifically XYO is doing, it'd be great to talk a bit more about the demand side. So who specifically the clients, the customers here, what kind of data generally has been most valuable to them? Where's the most of the revenue coming from?
Yeah, we have Web3 and Web2 clients. We wish there would be more Web3 clients. I think it's part of our ecosystem will grow up over time. There will be more revenue generation and revenue being shifted between companies. You see that a lot in DeFi, but not so much in the other ecosystems yet. I think it's starting to grow in DePIN and data storage. I think you start seeing it, but it takes a minute. So most of our revenue comes from Web2 companies, but on the Web3 side, we work, for example, with Chainlink, for example. On the Web2 side, we work with like Here Technologies, InMarket, and a bunch of other companies. A super big one, which we're probably going to announce next month. We are excited about. They are already generating revenue for us, but we can't speak about it. But just in 2023, we made $10.5 million in revenue. The 2024 numbers I can't release yet because we haven't announced them yet, and there's some SEC rules that I can't speak about those. But 2024 looked really good as well.
You have a more well-developed structure and a lot of other DPINs that we're seeing in terms of generating demand. How specifically does value accrue to token holders? So is it more of a buy and burn type model, or are you using a different tokenomic design? Love to hear more on that.
Yeah, it's buy and burn. It's like our tokens are around since 2018. So there's no it's so much friction on tokens from 2018. We see that a lot of wallets are just dormant. Doesn't matter the price, and so tokens burn themselves even naturally. I think people often forget that, and our FTV almost equals our market cap because all our tokens are in circulating supply. So what happens if we get US dollars? In the beginning, we only wanted to get paid in XYO, but nobody wanted to pay us, so we switched, and now we take US dollars and ETH and whatever anyone wants to pay us in. We turn it into XYO, and then we put that into the ecosystem. And then there's a burn mechanism, which we haven't quite announced. If we had several burnings over the years, I think it's going to be a big burn announcement this year. But yeah, I don't want to quite announce it yet. There's also staking coming, and a new staking and burning mechanism.
Yeah, could you go a bit more into governance and how decisions are made, given that there's also Web2 entities involved? How are all these decisions, whether it's like burning or otherwise, made?
Yeah, right now it's done through the XYO Foundation and its board, and but we want to be fully decentralized in the governance. So the idea is that the XYO token becomes a full governance token of the XYO network.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, you mentioned you've had a token since 2018. You've been in the space for 7 or so years now. What have you seen kind of as like high level developments in Deepin, or like what have you learned really that and like how has that evolved XYO over the years?
Yeah, first we learned that Deepin exists. You guys made it up at Messari. And we really love it. And the people behind XYO and XYO Labs, we are have been entrepreneurs before. We were lucky. We sold a few companies over the years in like ad tech and media and data and so on. And so we know how to build a real business. And so after the ICO boom in like 2017, the markets just crashed and all the projects just crashed because they lived off their tokens, right? And the tokens didn't have any value anymore. So we had to build a real business model. And so the real business models then were in DeFi mostly. But we weren't a DeFi project, but we were a data project. So we had to find ways to make that work. And so we built this real business model to build a thriving company, and that worked out really well for us, and that turned out to be Deepin in the end, basically. And we can see today that I think people and investors are so drawn to Deepin because it has this business model which is sustainable. Like it doesn't, if your token value goes up or down, it has relevance, of course, to your project, but you can, if you have generate enough revenue and profits, that you are able to survive the down cycles. And that's what we built. And that's how we fit into the Deepin.
Yeah, I think one challenge a lot of Deepins have is generating demand. Like they might be able to bootstrap the supply side. You've been able to get to that demand threshold. Did you ever encounter challenges in balancing supply and demand and kind of figuring out how to do tokenomics to get to a sustainable equilibrium?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a struggle all the time. Not all the time, sorry. It comes in waves. It's struggling in waves. And yes, in the beginning we needed to subsidize a lot of the payouts with our treasury, right? As a lot of Deepins do in the beginning, and then we had to really start generating revenue because you run out of your tokens at some point. Then it wouldn't be fair to the investors to just shut down the project or something. And so we work really hard to build up our demand. And now I think we are in a good equilibrium. We have like a lot of different, we have dozens and dozens of different demand partners, and are able, to balance it, I think, pretty well. And we're working on some really great stuff with on-demand data generation. Basically that you can go and collect data. You can ask the network to collect data. We built, for example, a whole backend where you can log in, similar to Google AdWords, where you can log in and I say I want to know all the ATMs in Manila, right? And our ecosystem will go and collect for you where they are. And that should be released soon as well. And so, we keep building demand and supply, and so far so good.
Yeah. Have there been like any lessons or like models that you've adapted from other DePINs that you found successful? I know you have a mobile app that's kind of integrated with XYO. Love to hear more on that.
Yeah, I think we were the first one with a mobile app. For example, Natix is another one which is a mobile app. They're a great project. We were the first investor, I think, and so they knew everything about our mobile app, right? And Ali Reza, I told him everything how it works on our side. Ali Reza, for example, wrote about XYO in his PhD thesis, and so I think we were one of the pioneers with a mobile app. There might have been others I'm not aware of, but I think we were one of the pioneers, and now others are doing it as well, because I think the key is to broaden the addressable market in ecosystem, right? So it's like the crypto market is growing, but if your grandma can participate, right, or your, I don't know, gym teacher, then crypto is really awesome. And we want to enable that. And if you have a large addressable market also, then you don't run into supply side issues ever, because you can just keep scaling and scaling and scaling, which is what we're doing. As I said, for 80% of the users, they are non-crypto people when they come into our ecosystem today, but 95% they redeem the points which they earn into XYO. But they also have the option to redeem them for like BTC and ETH, but also for like airports and PlayStation and stuff like that, or sweepstakes entries and all kinds of things. And we do that to have like broad appeal and to be able to say, okay, you want to be participating in this sweepstakes, for example, right? Like download the app. But in the end, 95% of the people coming into our ecosystem redeem for XYO. So we onboard millions into the crypto sphere, and I think that's what's really exciting about the whole apps, that they really are able to convert.
With so many users, they're not like crypto native necessarily. How have you thought about kind of designing your app and UX? Do you abstract a lot of the crypto away, or have you found like a good way to integrate it where users, are comfortable using crypto even if they're not super familiar with it?
Yeah, we try to make it super easy for someone who's not into crypto, and for someone maybe who doesn't want to know about crypto, who just wants to earn something on the side or get some crypto and then just not worry about it. For example, we have an integration with Coinbase where you're able to, you download our app, which is free, right? You do your geo mining, all the things in there, and then you can redeem your tokens into your Coinbase email address. And that way you don't even have gas fees, you don't need a wallet and anything, right? You just go sign up for Coinbase account, which is the same as signing up for a stock brokerage account. And a lot of non-crypto people trust it more than a wallet, right? Because they're scared to lose their keys and access to the crypto, and we make it super easy. You can, of course, also redeem it just into your wallet address as any other thing. And then, of course, we have email sequences, like 7 emails to understand XYO and DePIN and, crypto and this and that. And there's so much and messaging in the app. And there's a lot of messaging to explain how things work. And depending on how you interact with the app or the emails, you get different messaging. So if you realize you're maybe new to crypto or you're a pro, you get different sets of emails from us. And we have some questionnaires as well. And I think they work pretty well.
Yeah, it makes sense. Also, having been in the space so long, how have you thought about underlying blockchain infrastructure and decisions between building on various L1s, L2s, building your own chains? How have you thought about that and navigated also just technological changes since 2018?
Yeah, that's a great question. Timely, thank you. We were a middleware technology, basically similar to Chainlink, connecting data to smart contracts, validating, verifying, and using like IPFS, other technologies to then connect to a Ethereum smart contract, for example. And then, but all this technology now came together, and we will release this quarter the XYO layer 1, our own layer 1 blockchain. And that one is very data centric, and it takes all our strengths, a proof of location, proof of origin, and our ecosystem, and then it creates a data centric for storage and compute system, which is going to be ultra efficient and has a high degree of sovereignty and certainty.
Yeah, could you go a bit more into why build your own L1 now? Just like in terms of like what are the advantages of that and what led you to the decision?
Yeah, so as you know, to store data on Ethereum, even Solana, is still very costly. Right? And so we wanted to create a system where it's cheaper to store that data while you have the sovereignty. And in our system, our middleware XYO creates tangles or chains and blocks which are indefinitely sharded. So if you have the interaction between devices, let's say, and you create a chain of those interactions, right, and you have an unrelated chain of interactions, then those don't touch each other, and so you don't have a consensus layer. And so what we needed to do is write that consensus onto other chains like Solana or Ethereum. And now with our own layer 1, what we can do is take basically all these interactions and write them onto our own chain before we write them onto other chains. That was the first premise. And then, of course, we realize what I said about the data. We want to do data even better. There's a bunch of good protocols there like ICP and Filecoin and others. But we think we can do that even better in a more efficient and cheaper way. And we have a big network of users there, which I think will help us get the layer 1 kickstarted pretty quickly.
Could you also speak more on future plans for XYO over the coming year? What's on the roadmap?
Yeah, we have some really incredible partnerships coming up, like some big stuff. And on the demand side, but also we do something more with real world gaming, where we bring people, for example, we announced something with Upland, but there's going to be bigger ones as well, where basically we bring real world games into the real world, which are then usually in a metaverse or in a virtual environment. So you go to, let's say, you go to a bakery, right? And when you're there, you collect an NFT, and with that NFT, you get the right to do something in the metaverse, or you can buy the bakery in the metaverse or whatever. And so it's like real world game or Monster Hunt and Pokemon Go and stuff like that in a more real world environment with more certainty, so without spoofing and stuff like that. And we're excited about enabling that. There's a lot happening in augmented reality, and we want to be there as well and provide that ability through our proof location technology as well as our large node and user base.
Yeah, have you thought at all about starting to be called physical AIs or like these robots, machines, autonomous vehicles? Is there any role that XYO can play there, given the advancements in AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we can. Our data has a high degree of certainty. First, for AI in general, our data makes it so that AI will hallucinate less because, you can say, okay, this data really, which trains this AI really comes from a certain point, right? And then, so it's for the edge node collection of that data, it's really relevant. And then to feed it back to...
Great. Where should listeners and viewers go if they want to learn more about XYO, whether that be social media or website, etc.?
It's probably best to start on XYO.network and sign up for a newsletter. And then we remind you to go to our Twitter. It's official XYO. And then really we have all the other channels, obviously, Discord and so on. But if you start with those two, then we know you're there and we capture you and bring you into our ecosystem. And of course, if you want to trade the token, which is listed on Coinbase and anywhere else, it's there, right? And then on coinapp.co, you can download the Coin app to go start to earn some XYO.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.